their decisions on bosses were on point. They won several fights 4v5 while Falstad was soaking. They won several fights 4v5 while one of their members was dead and picked. And I feel like the advantages that Raven had were not used correctly. Like the curse, for example, they chased and pushed and tried to get kills. Lost members didn't get any soak. That chase in the bot lane while the Siege Giants were killing their bot keep wall, which is where the game actually ended at the end of all things. They just let that go. They tried to get the kill on Noblesse, which is never going to happen. It just felt like you could see L5 basically playing a game that was harder than normal. Like they were like playing with like extra gravity like Dragon Ball Z, and they just like proved themselves even in those circumstances. So it was like they gave themselves a handicap, and they were like, oh, we could still win no matter what.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be too negative about taking Mosh. Like, I take Mosh personally, and I love making a big comeback into just one team fight, annihilating the entire opponent. It is important. It is a super cool heroic to play. But I just want to point out that in this meta, which there are just so many CCs and also globals, and having Falstad on the other team, and the other team happens to be L5. I honestly think Stage Dive is a better choice, especially when you are actually winning the beginning game. Yeah. If you are losing it, maybe the Mosh is the way because you want to bet a little, you want to gamble in that moment. But as having a Stage Dive, you can have that macro play and at least try to have the same macro as L5. I think Mosh did not work perfectly, but still.
So, I agree with you entirely there. The big egregious one was the Mosh that Diom did when he was like dead. I looked at that like, well, that's a 2-minute cooldown, and as you pointed out, L5 was very aware of the timer there and punished a lot during that moment. We're going into Sky Temple now as our second map, and this is the map choice of L5 as Raven decided to take first pick, which is how it's pretty much always going to go. You could just assume, generally speaking, that the team that lost will take first pick, and the winning team will always get the map choice. So L5 wants to win a snowbally quick game here on Sky Temple, most likely. And they did not prioritize the Falstad highly, but they got him anyways. It was significantly useful for them. It definitely got them a lot of extra soak on on Cursed Hollow. So I imagine we'll have a similar situation here going into Sky Temple.
But we also saw some of the strength that NMX has on that Li Ming. Even though the shields make it so hard for NMX to actually get the kills and reset. He was the only one that felt like he knew what he was doing the entire time, trying to get picks so he can get resets. Of course, his team helped him a lot. And this was probably the same when we saw NMX play against Tempest, trying to get some skill shots. His skill shots were landing on the right page. I feel like L5 just out-macroed them at the end, just making smarter choices. Having Falstad and Global Hero is so important in this meta. I just want to highlight that over and over on, and until the end of today, especially until we hit the new patch, this meta is going to stay.
Absolutely. Zeratul, first pick. And that ban on Zeratul we saw on the previous map now, so just feel a little bit more, I think it made sense. If they play as good of a Zeratul as Good did earlier, if H82 can make that happen, then the pick will be warranted. This allows L5 many options. They could go down the Ragmouth path, but Falstad is something they've been favoring a lot higher. They did not first pick it on the previous set, but they will have the potential to pick it up here on Sky Temple, where it's arguably a little bit more valuable even than it is on Cursed. So the idea here is, do we want Rag, Falstad, Malf? Which one of these? With Tassadar and Zarya banned, you don't want Vala, and it is going to be Malf and Falstad. So what's the choice?
Very obvious choice coming out from Malf5, and Malfurion is just way too popular. Maybe nerf incoming? Maybe in the next few patches, that I think that may be possible. And Uther also got 10 armor in the next patch. Maybe we'll see more of Uther. possibly.
To be honest, with Uther's armor, I don't think it's going to change too much. I personally think Balf is like in a perfect place in terms of his numbers and his balance.
And it's I think sustain, cleanse.
I think it's more of the if Balf is to go down, other supports might be buffed slightly, like Uther, for example, or we could just wait until Lucio comes out, because that is going to change the entire scale of how this game is played, as Lucio will absolutely be top tier.
I think Lucio can actually change the meta.
Yes.
When he comes out. But here's Varian and Ragnarok's pick from Raven this time. And Diong actually gets his hands on Varian this time. Let's see how L5 basically opened that to them. So let's see.
So with Varian and Rag coming in here, we talked about the combo with this earlier. Mighty was favoring this even in their first rotations multiple times in the last best of 5. With Zeratul on top of it, it almost feels like it's a bit much, but we'll see how this works out. If they wanted to pick up Varian later, I think it would have been fine. This is really telegraphing what their plan is here, as these very fast blow-up style here with the big smash after the taunt. Zeratul comes in. He's got the Void Prism. In terms of bans, I think that a ban on Rhaegar Karzim is not... It's possible, but it's like, okay, they're going to ban the Karzim. I was going to say, it feels targeted on Joju if you do that. You can play the opposite if you do that, which it's not worth talking about anymore because they did it. But they could have decided to ban range damage as well, as I was trying to get to. But they banned the Karzim away, which probably forced the Rhaegar.
And Raven, they're into this tough choice because Noblesse actually has a wide pool of range of tanks what he can play, because he is Demora himself, and he can also play ETC, Johanna, basically all the tanks as a team comp is needed.
Yeah.
So instead of going for a tank ban, I think if they really want to go out, they can either get like Tychus, and Diablo was not super expected.
No, actually, I think the Diablo ban is really weird. I think that was a bad ban.
You're being too honest.
Nacho Gen is not impressed. You can see on the camera. He will be playing the Falstad in this game.
And leaving also taking away from NMX, that's a smart choice.
The reason why everything you said is so true is very similar to the Karzim thing. It's like, well, now Joju can play Rhaegar. He's a really good Rhaegar, so it feels like a weaker ban. The reason why banning ETC would be very strong anyways, because even though Burden is one of Noblesse's best heroes, now he has an extra global on this huge map. And we're going to see Vala Ariel coming. That was like a little bit sneaky, because you're not really thinking about that at the end of this draft. Going to see a Tyrael pick here. I think any other ban would have been better than the Diablo ban, because this is not a Diablo map. They don't have any combos with it right now. I thought that was a bit
The only
weird.
combo they have is with Malfurion's Root. That's like the only thing you can really think of, and I did not expect too much of a Tyrael coming out from L5, but we'll see how good they can bring it out. And we're going into the second game of today's match, L5 versus Raven. Let's see if L5 can keep on their winning streak, or Raven will be the one to stop. Let's go into game number 2.
Right. In blue, world champions L5. SC on Li Ming, Nachogen on Falstad, Zhonga on Tyrael, Noblesse on ETC, and Sway on Malfurion.
And their opponent in red, Raven, Joju on Ariel, Hamlin on Zeratul, NMX on Vala, and Diong on Varian, and H82 on Ragnaros.
Diong.
That's a popping sound when like your eyes pop out in the cartoon, in Korean sound.
Yeah. Well, now everyone else knows.
I thought it was only a Korean thing. So just to make sure if everyone, in case of not everyone knowing that sound.
Look, I mean, Diong could be like a car that drives by really fast. Diong! You know. Or like, I don't know, rubber band flying across the room.
And already Noblesse is on to that watchtower. And then notice Hamlin is standing right in front. And Dion comes in and Noblesse's power slides out. Hamlin's actually going to go all in on this.
Yeah, the commitment here to the floor pull is really...
Even Natrojin flies over to punish Dion for this. They're going to get this kill for sure, and they do for first kill.
They will get that first kill. Definitely a interesting commitment there. The blink, he did have that off cooldown, so he's able to get away Hamlin, that is, but they get the kill onto Varian. I think that was like, Natrojin's coming up like, oh, okay, well, I guess we'll kill Hamlin. He's like, oh, he got away, but let's just get Varian then, since we're already here. I was like, we don't ever make inefficient rotations. If we go across the map, we're gonna get something. Otherwise, that would be wrong. Wolf would get mad. He'd complain about it in the cast. Gotta at least kill one of the members. So they get that one. Noblesse just knocks Dion away, and then the boss also knocks him away. He's not having a good time. Double temples here for Raven temporarily. That's actually quite nice for them. They get a little bit of extra structural damage here. But what they lose is the EXP that Natrojin was able to get bought. Look at the rotation down for Hamlin. He missed the whole wave. He didn't get a single kill on that minion wave. He missed the whole wave. And Natrojin's going to stay there now because he sees him.
Well, that's what you get not having any global heroes in your team, which makes it super tough. And even Ragnaros goes into Molten Core just to save some health on that fort. Wow, this Raven going all out from the beginning of the game.
Unfortunately, it doesn't stop the last 5 shots. From
but still,
wise choice. I mean,
it's better to not. Better to not use it and just waste it. And Raven just on. Raven is on fire from the beginning of the game. Hamlin is gonna catch SC. SC is stunned, and there goes SC. Had to be a little bit more careful having Zeratul on the other side. Nice catch there. And I think H82 on Ragnaros, we see a lot of Ragnaros going over the half line in the lane and then just dying, especially having an ETC on the other side. He'll have to be careful. He'll have to really know where ETC is at least, or Malfurion. We see Noblesse and Swoi just rotating up and down together. Having that CC chain is just so strong, just able to catch one.
There is basically an imaginary line that you can draw down the center of the map for all the lanes.
Do not cross here.
And like, you can call it a lot of different things. I like to call it like the midpoint or the center of the lane. If you ever go onto the other side, in this case the blue side is a Rag, you will be punished oftentimes. So be really careful about that. NMX eating so much damage there from SC is healed immediately. That's all Joju's hope though. Already gone. This is risky here against an ETC to poke like this. They're going to win the Siege Giant fight, which will put some structural damage onto this this wall, but only a little bit. Hamlin forced away here. There's no ammo for this cannon turret. Uh-oh,
H82 is camping, but Jongak can he? No, he cannot. And that was a good punish by Hamlin and Joju coming in. NMX coming in from the side, and also no one was getting EXP from the top. The lane is just stalled. Dion very close to death, but he managed to survive. Natrojin flies over a little bit too far.
Not entirely sure.
And Hamlin's not dead. It's Vala dead first, and then Hamlin also goes down at the end.
Entirely sure how that happened, but Hamlin was like, he was very confident that there was going to be enough hope to keep him alive there. That's a sign of a good Zeratul player, someone who knows just how much healing output his support has so that he could stay in. I thought he was on a suicide mission, but he did die, yes, of course, at the end, but I mean, what he was able to accomplish there seemed suicidal, but then actually it did a lot of damage. It seemed smart at the end.
Yeah, they're losing the bottom temple, but they are pushing the top lane with that camp that Ragnaros got a minute ago. So they're not picking up too much EXP, but still they're pushing the top fort and even using Molten Core again to keep that HP alive, and also doing some poking damage, and looks like they're gonna have a team fight here. Joju on that front has to be really dangerous, even though Aria does have Containment Strike, and it looks like Varian will be the first one to blow up.
H82 turns around here too. Hamlin survives for now. It looks like he would just barely get out, but H82 is so lucky he wasn't killed. I think if L5 had just turned on him there, they would have gotten it for sure. Either way, they win control of this temple. The top push you talked about is super important, and Nitrogen will go and clean that. It didn't do a crazy amount of damage. It got the wall, and it wasted a lot of the ammo on this fort, but it is cleared now. 10 is going to go to L5 first. Jungha needs to be careful not to get caught again. It's only a slight EXP lead right now for L5. Okay, never mind. It's they got 10 because Li Ming got the fort. Yep.
They got the fort, and also Hamlin has been a little bit overextending. It is all Joju that is healing, just constant healing him so he does not fall down. He was so close to going down like 5 times already, and Joju's like, please do not go too deep. Like, he's almost saying that. Like, I'm saving you because you're my teammate, but still.
Super aggressive. Super aggressive. Hyper aggressive, I would even say. So, we're going to see this very aggressive move by Raven around the boss pit. Looking for a pick, assuming that L5 was going to be camping. They were not just yet. Meanwhile, L5 gets the top camp, and Nitrogen is going to push that lane. He can come down any time. This is the power of globals and why, you know, when you don't first pick Falstad, you end up in awkward situations like this where Falstad's on the other side, and he's just doing so much. It's like, you even have Zeratul on your team, and looks like this time he might get the pick. Does Vorpal. There's no tower here. Nitrogen gusts to get away. They need to be doing more of this. Like, Hamlin needs to be punishing these greedy Falstad moves more often.
Yeah, that is true. And even Aegis used and Sank Pop just to catch Diong, and Diong just walks out from that and even taking some damage than Jungha. That was a little too much coming out from L5 actually. Raven did a very good job, and especially Vala just ceasing, trying to stall them some time. Diong got taken a lot of damages, but Vala was the one that actually saved it, because without Vala, not enough puff, that means not enough heal, so.
Okay, Temple's active. Hamlin
This is actually really good for Raven, I think, because Ragnaros is already on top. Falstad, of course, can fly over, but that would mean that Falstad would be using the flight to go up there.
Yeah. Do you ever realize that Raven is kind of just like the new version of Rave, and it's like Rave then N? I just had this thought. Pretty sure that was the idea all along, but somehow it only occurred to me now.
August was used and
Hamlin.
Void Prison to save himself, but also trap 3 of them. Let's see if that continues. Swoi doesn't get caught, but Twilight Dream turns this around.
That was actually a really good coordination by Raven, because like you said, that was actually not intentionally used to kind of turn the fight. It was really an escape mechanism there for Hamlin. They actually coordinatedly collapsed there. Unfortunately, they collapsed so hard that Twilight Dream basically hit everybody, and that meant dead Vala as Nitrogen's on the chase here. And Greg does finish H82 in the top lane. That Nitrogen's on the chase. Aegis, Noblesse is here, and Diong.
Going to be enough, but Rag did get all of the stuff from the top temple, and they just hit 13 now, so they have the chance to fight, but they have already lost a member. Looks like Diong's variant is not too effective against L5 tonight.
Well, we're going to see Tyrael just take the last 5 shots here as they left that open there. So, yes, Rag got top, but L5 got this first. And so, you know, they just had the second one. This last shot was there, but like, basically the Rag getting that was nice and all, but they also had their own full template bot and got pushed and got a kill. So that's why they're up about half a level lead right now in EXP. There's no objectives really on the map other than boss at this moment in time and this bruiser camp. So Raven's going to take the bruiser camp, and it looks like L5 is going to consider the boss move. Varian does move to this mid lane hidden, actually. So L5 might be thinking, you know, might have been thinking, oh, maybe they're bossing, but when they see the ping to the top right that the camp is taken, they know it's not, so they just get a mid wave, and they're roaming as 4 while Nitrogen is camping and also getting EXP alone.
And here comes H82, as I talked about. Ragnar staying on top alone is always the danger, and L5 just goes ahead and punish them for it. And while this time, having 3 of them on the camp was actually the same time as just Nitrogen just soloing the camp there.
Yep. The roaming is 4. Raven should realize this, and HGC should not be in lane like that. Which is, honestly, we talked about this a lot with Rags, we talked about it with Sands, and also Modern Life.
Noblesse waiting behind them. This may be actually super dangerous as Noblesse actually has Mosh. This may actually be one of the effective Mosh if it comes in at the right choice. Gus was just saying even pop.
Mosh.
They're going into the other direction that's not towards your home, but let's see. Joju is just caught. There's no way of getting out. Just stalling some more time with that Aegis.
It's gonna go down. Mosh didn't land there really, but they still got the kill. Good move there. But he's going back to the point on the Rags. Like we see H82 in the past, his biggest weakness in Season 3, where he made a big name for himself. It was the first time he played in a pro league. Was getting caught in the top lane on Thrall, on Illidan. It was caught really, really often, and this can't keep happening, or like an improvement must be made. Like a tweak needs to be made. The team needs to realize and say, like, look, man, we didn't make a call. They're roaming us 4. You cannot be in lane like that, or this is just going to continue to happen. If he escapes, then L5 looks silly for trying to gank him because they wasted a lot of time with their 4-man roam. So I'm going a long-winded on that, but it's a big issue that H82 has been facing. Diong will get picked here.
And that was about time. Before H82 fell, it was about even on level 14 to 14. And compared to all the other teams that faced L5 so far, Raven looked the best compared like when they were facing against L5. And maybe they're having the worst game today. I mean, talking about L5, but still Raven was doing pretty well in key fights, getting some pickoff. But after that, they are starting to lose it.
They really are waning a little bit here, it feels. They have no BAP presence because they lost Varian, so now L5 is going to get both temples and a Merc cap, only 1 level ahead, but that's all it takes when 1 man is down. And Raven, look at the movement on the map. They posture on boss. Hamlin got the clear on the bot lane, so that's actually going to possibly get them a fort.
This is way too deep. You can't go in too deep alone like that. Hamlin may survive this, but
nope. Aegis used there as well. It's not the longest cooldown, but definitely wasn't going to save him there. NMX is going to be the next to die. It just feels sloppy, what we're watching here. Why were they all poised around the boss? Hamlin got the push bot to get the fort. As you can see, it just went down. But Jojo's going to die here. Why were they posturing on the boss? They didn't have vision. L5 wasn't here. They didn't have Varian. And then L5 rotated down because they were like, are they going to do like a 3-man boss? What's happening? Hamlin tries to get the pick, gets the Void Prison off, but they lose the fight because he's alone.
I think they were confused in a way because they were not seeing them at the top tempo at all. And maybe they were confident that L5 is doing a secret boss or they were going to come for a boss. But when you're planning against something like that, you have to be together. You can't be all around the map. I think they just started to lose it a little bit, especially after Diong was getting cut off. And being the only first frontliner warrior, that makes it super hard. And Hamlin is trying very hard to get a pickoff, but it's just not happening so far. But it is worth the try. But against an L5, against Nacho Jin's Falstad, he's having a hard time.
I mean, his attempt earlier on Nacho Jin was what caused him to lose this team fight that they didn't need to because he was so aggressive with no vision whatsoever as to where L5 was. And as it turns out, they were all rotating towards where Raven had already shown themselves on the map, especially Hamlin. And nearly Hamlin finds another one train ticket back to the Hall of Storms here with his attempt to kill Tyrael this time. He is just being too aggressive here.
And Falstad did just like to go all the way up, but instantly you saw the potential, or maybe a team fight would have happened. So like he came down right away. There was no ping involved. Look at that level of communication and teamwork. It's like they work in one person. That's what happens if you keep the same roster for a long time. You take the champions, and let's see what happens here. Jongha does.
Well, Hamlin gets away here. It feels like L5 is chasing him down with how aggressive he's positioned himself. He always tries to go for something big, gets caught. King's over here saying, I'm on the chase from him. They eventually let him go here, but every time he makes an aggressive play, L5 turns it against him. That was cute. It was like so risky too.
That was very flashy, but not really effective at all.
Had they predicted that, like he would have been dead for sure.
And Noblesse getting caught by the perfect Sang to protect, and Mosh to just continue on that CC. Noblesse power slides in. Great silence to get all of them into silence. Hamlin in danger there. There goes Zeratul, and SCSC gets the reset. Natrojin also gust over everyone. They're gonna get a team wipe for sure here.
Soy, because they got 20, had Bolt, so got away there after his ice block. So
they're actually leading H82. They don't even care. They're just gonna push all the way in.
Well, he does have his Molten Core, I believe. So
I don't think so. I think it's either on cooldown or he just used it.
I think you're right, because he's definitely not using it right now. And if he had it, this would be nice. I think he was trying to, but Noblesse actually stuns him there. Now the keep is down, and this is going to be game over as HGC does what he can, but he can't do much. That is going to be at level 20 to 18 here with Storm talents available. L5 will take a 2-game lead in this series. Now on match point as we go into our third map. The first game definitely started off well for Raven, but it seems like L5 has really gotten into the rhythm now, and they're just simply playing better. Void Prison here to slow this down, but it doesn't matter. L5 takes the win. They've gotten into the rhythm. They've warmed up, and they are just smashing it right now. Hamlin did not make the Zeratul first pick feel first pick worthy.
That is true, but he really tried hard, and Natrojin using, like, whenever he feels the danger, he just rolls out or just use that gust to make sure he's in the safe zone, or just flies over to his teammate so his teammate can actually save him just like that. And Natrojin really, we saw a lot of other false stats in day 1 and day 2, and they actually got caught a lot of the time. And actually H82 did get caught in the crucial moment, and that's where the entire Raven team started to fall apart. But that was, I think, the only time he got caught standing alone.
I'm just saying, 2 things for me in this game. There's a million things to talk about. You just listed almost all of them. 2 things for me. HA2, stop dying in top lane.
Okay.
Number 2, don't let Natrojin have Falstad. When you have first pick and you first pick Zeratul and it looks like that, I'm worried. Zeratul is a strong pick into Falstad, so maybe they're saying, yes, please take Falstad. I'm going to kill you. Didn't kill him one time. Not even one time. And died several times trying. And I think going into game 3, because they will have first pick again, they need to stop these 2 things from happening. Natrojin's Falstad soak and his global presence and L5's rotations and HA2 don't want to see him dying as Rag in the top lane anymore. And
looks like that was a really not too one-sided game, but Raven actually had a very good chance of taking maybe a single game off of L5, but let's see if that is going to happen in game number 3, or actually L5 is going to finish the match. Let's see. We'll take a short break after the commercial. See you guys soon.